Now let's bring this back up and let's take a look at, inshallah, some of the Quranic guidance today that echoes this lesson about legacy. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Now, Surah Shu'ara, that's an amazing surah, by the way. And that's something we can speak about another day in much more detail. But we're going to take a look at many of these verses from Surah Shu'ara today. But the whole thing, and obviously based on the poets, Allah, and sha'ir comes from shu'ur, an awareness. Allah. It doesn't come. See, people don't understand they don't understand the nuances of these words. They use the words that it carries today. So, but that gives a very shallow understanding of what the words mean when they're used in the Quran, because they didn't use them the way we use them today. I mean, there's an overlap, but they used them with much more nuance to them. So sha'ir wasn't how we call a poet today. So a poet today is just somebody who says poetry. I mean, that's not how poetry emerged in Arabia in late antiquity. It emerged from this kind of this kind of otherworldly experience that somebody experiences in a sense of almost transcendental awareness that results in this trance-like state followed by expression that is magical in its appearance, because it captivates and it rhymes and it comes with certain rhythms and meters that it's like, whoa, what is this person saying? Almost as though they are casting a spell. I mean, think the oracles of Delphi, and think those that kind of that oracular kind of culture that existed. Right. So Surah Shu'ara, looking at this verse 84, that وَجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. Allah. You see, people, when you've got to live anyway, why not live a life that will leave a legacy? You see, live a life that will leave a legacy. These verses are to do with Ibrahim alayhi salam, and him making a dua that, oh Allah, waj'al li lisan sidqin fil akhirin, that give me a good mention, that those who come after me, that they can speak well and praise my legacy. And this goes to show that there's nothing wrong in wanting a legacy. Sometimes some people think, oh my God, is that the ego? No, it is actualizing your human potential. It is truly manifesting yourself. You see, Allah has brought you, you're not just a statistic. You're a person. You're a human. You're an individual. Leave your story behind. Let it outlive you in the hearts and minds of others. That وَجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. And it's amazing the word that place my mention on the tongues of people who come after me. But which tongues? The tongues that speak true. You see. And that also means they can't blag it. So you have to have left it. So the legacy has to be true as well. It can't just be fake. So, and here, you see, I wanted to just taking a slight break from Surah Shu'ara. You look here, Surah Nahl, Allah refers to Ibrahim alayhi salam because these words are on the tongue of Ibrahim, and we're going to come back to the rest of that dua and what precedes it as well. That inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qa'iman lillahi hanifan wa lam yakun min al-mushrikeen. That Abraham was an ummah. He was a civilization. He was a nation in and of himself. And you think, what? How was he a nation? He was just one person. You see, so how is Ibrahim alayhi salam an ummah? And people have given, there's many ways of looking at this. But you see, one way to understand this is because of that potential that he had in him. It was the potential of civilizations. And it's true, it followed after him. Did it not? See, Judaism, Christianity, its empires, whether it was Byzantines or whoever, taking over Rome, came on to become Christian Rome. Still, whether you could say rightly or wrongfully, but tracing their legacy to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And then Islam, Allahu Akbar, setting humanity on a trajectory of global unification. These faiths put together, the Abrahamic faiths, have done that. For the most part, they have set mankind on a trajectory of human unification. And it begins with this one man, Ibrahim alayhi salam, who left a legacy. It is, it's so profound when you think about it. And why is Allah mentioning this in the Quran? He's mentioning it for you. You thinking that, what am I? What can I do? I haven't got, I haven't got an audience. I haven't got followers. Oh, I haven't got enough likes on my Instagram. I haven't got enough, I haven't got enough of a bank balance in my account. I haven't got a family. I haven't got friends. I haven't got resources. I haven't got money. I haven't got properties. I haven't got people, whatever that you're lacking, that you think you're lacking in life. And then Allah presents this story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, rejected by his family, by his people. Age, he becomes aged, doesn't have the same vigor and strength of his youthful days. The struggle to have children. The whole story that he doesn't have a child until very late in life. Wandering without resources. Deserted in a valley. Which, and and Allah says, just call upon people. Adhim finnas. And Ibrahim alayhi salam was like, nobody's here. I don't have the resources. Nobody's interested in me. But the message was, this is just chapter 1 yet. Allah. In chapter 25, you have no idea what's going to happen. You see how the whole thing plays out. This, Allah is saying, Inna Ibrahim kana ummah. But perhaps so are you. Now you may say, well, I don't believe so. Then maybe you're not. You see, because if you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you are right. So just thinking about that. And now the context to when Ibrahim alayhi salam is making that dua. Now check this out. Because in the verses that preceded, so just before what we read, you see, Ibrahim alayhi salam is speaking about God and his favors. He says, Alladhi khalaqani. who created me, فَهُوَ يَهْدِينَ. He will show me the way. Don't worry. People were saying to him, who's going to guide you? You're leaving your people, you're going on your own. Who's going to guide you? فَهُوَ يَهْدِينَ. You know, he brought me into this world. I'll have tawakkul. I'll have a sense of trust. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. See, he was going on a journey alone. Where are you going to get food from? Somebody's made a shift. They've left a particular job. They've gone to a different job. Maybe somebody's quit something to follow their dreams. People have said, you know what? You're being stupid. Where are you going to get your money from? Where are you going to get an income from? Who's going to pay you to, I don't know, be a writer? Or who's going to pay you to follow this passion? Who's going to pay you to do this? It says, وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. It says, Allah, He feeds me. He gives me to drink. Now, but what happens when a person is without support mechanisms? And this is actually psychologically shown as well. You see, when people are often rendered alone, their immune systems can become weaker. They can. Doesn't mean they have to. They can. But there's a distinction between being alone and lonely. And we covered this last week. And Ibrahim alayhi salam says, وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. Yeah, if I get sick at times, Allah heals me. Look at the narrative. It has been shown that people who have faith, now, you know, studies have been conducted on this. People who have faith tend to outlive people who don't have faith. They tend to have stronger immune systems. They tend to recover from illnesses quicker. They tend to get their life back together following catastrophes quicker than counterparts who don't have faith. No, إِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِي. If I fall ill, He cures me. Now, you may think that here He is addressing these people, addressing all these concerns. Now, at this point, you see, now this is another, honestly, this is such a beautiful way. I want you guys to pay attention to this, right? Check this out. This is counterintuitive here. Ibrahim alayhi salam has mentioned all these things. You know, God watches out for me. God will support me. God will give me to do this. God will do this. God will do this. Now, at this point, what do you think a person should do? You think, or a person would do? They would be like, they would start praising and being grateful. I mean, not, they would start expressing, let me reword that, they would start expressing shukr to God. Because if somebody says, you know, Allah's going to do this for me, Allah's got me, don't worry, Allah's got, then a person at that point might think, you know, I better pray to God, I better, you know, express, I better give. And what can an insan give to God? You can't give anything. But maybe I'm going to try to express my shukr. Going to do, you know, shukran, and I'm going to do some tasbih, or I'm going to try to do my human weak version of giving. But look at the example. This is where people miss this when they read the Quran. Look at what Ibrahim alayhi salam does following that. It says, وَالَّذِي أَطْمَعُ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ لِي خَطِيئَتِي يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. Before that, he does mention, and when I die, after that was still part of the other verses, that when I'm ill, He cures me, and when I pass away, He grants me a life following death. But then look at this. He doesn't follow, but he follows by asking for more. Look at that. So he's got He's saying, look, Allah's gonna do this. Allah takes care of me. He feeds me. He gives me to drink. He does this. He does this. Now, imagine in a worldly example, you're speaking to someone. Imagine you've got some kind of a guardian, some kind of a like a benefactor, somebody that is gracious towards you, and they benevolent, and they give you, they're a donor, they kind of whatever, a king in the past, as people would have had, or somebody, some kind of patron that's like super wealthy. So you're saying, oh, this person is like, this person will cover me, he will support me, he will do this, he will do that, or this king will do this. Now, when you finish, the last thing you're going to do is start asking. You're going to say, oh yeah, there's such an amazing person, this person is so great, the best person, best king ever, best millionaire ever. But look, Allah, laysa kamithli shay. Allah is not like a king. He's not a benevolent king like this. He's not like how you picture people. Ibrahim alayhi salam follows immediately by asking, expressing more. وَالَّذِي أَطْمَعْ يَغْفِرَ لِي خَطِيئَتِي يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. And who, by the way, all my mistakes that I've made, I hope he forgives. And then he goes directly, starts asking more. Rabbi habli hukman. Oh Allah, give me the potential for power. Allah, for judgment, sound knowledge. Give me this hukm. And people say, what does hukm mean? Some people say, does it mean prophethood? Does it mean knowledge? But it's all the potential to be able, you see, because to be able to have some hukm is the potential for some power, whether it's by virtue of knowledge, whether it's by virtue of other means. And he asks this, Rabbi habli hukman wa alhiqni bis salihin. And, place me amongst people who are good. And then he asks more, وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. You see? And make me have a legacy that is amongst the generations that come after me. Allah, he's still asking even more. And he doesn't stop there. وَاجْعَلْنِي مِنْ وَرَثَةِ جَنَّةِ النَّعِيمِ. And you know what? Allah, when I pass away from this, inevitable, make my afterlife even better. Allah, and doesn't stop there. He says, وَاغْفِرْ لِأَبِي إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الضَّالِّينَ وَلَا تُخْزِنِي يَوْمَ يُبْعَثُونَ. Asks more. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ وَأُزْلِفَتِ الْجَنَّةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah. You see, people, one of the key disrupting elements for many believers today, many Muslims especially, is how they understand God, their relationship with God. People's relationship with God is often that it's like as though God is he's like a king in the past. When people had kings in the past, you see, because in the past, ulama used these examples because they were speaking to people, let's say, that lived in rural cultures, and to give an approximation, they gave these kind of examples. And fair enough, they were coming from a position of understanding for their day and age. But people have this today. But the problem with the king is, as kind and generous as he can be as swift in being vicious, and he can be ruthless. So people had to always live in kind of fear of this king. And they had to give their dues. They've got to pay taxes to this king. That is not Allah. You see, that's a completely disconnected analogy. Allah is nothing. Laysa kamithlihi shay. There's not even an analogy that is like an analogy that is onto him. Allah. And here, instantiated in this surah, you see this coming to life. Ibrahim alayhi salam is mentioning all these things. And when he finishes, one may think, oh, is this the point to start expressing a series of shukr? And he starts asking, and give me this, and give me this, Ya Rab, give me this, give me this. Why? Because it doesn't affect Allah to give. Allah says, Ud'uni astajib lakum. Just ask, I will give. You just need to ask. This relationship that we have with God and our concept of God needs, with many people, it needs to be retuned and refined. And to understand that Allah is not this kind of angry, this being. It's nothing like that. And they've misunderstood God. And this is why I found these verses so amazing, that here Ibrahim alayhi salam is guiding you in how to understand your relationship with God. That look, he will have you food, drink, guide you when you are lost. He will, yes, he gives death, he gives life though. People may fall ill, he will grant you health. And then when he says all of these things, keeps on asking, and even asks for a legacy. and this is mentioned in the Quran. And does he not have one? Because when we think about Ibrahim alayhi salam, this is the greatest legacy for any faith ever. The Abrahamic faiths all are a standing testimony to Ibrahim alayhi salam. So this is such a powerful, potent reminder, and I thought I'd share that with us. May Allah make it easy for each and all. And I would say, seriously, leave a legacy, and whatever little that may be, because you don't need to decide. You can't determine its success. All you can do is just be consistent in your input towards it. What your passion is, to leave that, to have a living reminder and testimony that outlives you in this dunya. Do that. So many people, they live a life that they've bereft of that they reach their final stage and they think, yaar, kash aisa hota. If only. Yeah, if only. This if only is not nice, Why not actually seize it? That lastu biraji'in ma fata minni. That at that stage you can't bring back anything that's gone. La bilahfa wala layta wala law anni. Allah says that the poet says I can't bring back what's gone. Not by saying, lahfa, or not by saying what if, or if only, or damn, I wish things were different. So may Allah give each and all the ability, the willpower to pursue a legacy, and may Allah bless it that it lives on after us all.